We're moving into a new section of Hebrews, so we're going to take some time to do an overview of the book, or the overview of this section. I really hope that you find these overviews to be useful, keeps you oriented in the book. We're going to be looking at verse 7. You scroll down a little bit through 4:14, 3:7 to 4:14. And I think the outline for me, anyway, let me tell you just why I do it, is it helps me follow God's thinking, his thoughts, and follow them. So I can think God's thoughts after him if I see the outline and see how everything goes together. I'm not the one who originated this. I've learned from teachers from the past, the immediate past, from my own seminary training, and also from the distant past. It used to be that teachers referred to these outlines as kind of an analysis of the book. And the thought was that it was useful for helping us keep the track of the overall message of the book without losing and see how the details fit in. So we're going to look at this small section, chapter 3, verses 7 to chapter 4, verse 11. But we don't want to lose sight of the fact of how this fits into the overall book of Hebrews. So that was the idea behind these outlines or analysis. So I'm praying that you find these to be useful as well. These are one of the lessons I think I learned from our study through Romans. It was another long book, easy to get lost in the details of the book. So I'm kind of applying that lesson learned to keep us on track in the book of Hebrews. So again, if we look back in the previous verses that we've gone through in chapter 3, verses 1 through 6, he was making the argument that that Jesus is preeminent over Moses. Doesn't replace Moses, but he's preeminent over him. So he did that by comparing first Moses with Jesus and then contrasting Moses and Jesus. Now, as we look forward, so that was our backward look, as we look forward to this next section, what we see here is our second challenge and encouragement. And our first challenge came in Hebrews 2, 1 through 4. You recall that we were challenged to pay much closer attention to what we've heard so that we don't drift away. Here we're going to get another challenge. He is going to challenge us first to learn from Israel's history, learn from their historic failure. So that will be in chapter 3, verses 7 all the way through 19, kind of a big section, and we'll divide that into a couple parts. And then in chapter 4, verses 1 through 10, he's going to challenge us to fear God with a holy fear, not a cowering, timid fear, but a fear it's more akin to what we'd say reverence. And then finally, in 11 through 14 of chapter 4, he's going to challenge us to be found faithful by God when he evaluates us. So that's what we're going to be looking at. We look forward to this section, our second challenge, our second encouragement in the book. Remember when I was introducing the book with those weekly videos, I told you that there would be challenges and encouragements along the way. This is the second one. So how do we apply this? Can we take this overview and apply it right now? Well, I think so. I think we can learn from the outline. We can learn from a bigger, broader view. One thing we can learn is that the Holy Spirit was concerned that the Hebrews, who had more than enough revelation from the Old Testament to make them accountable and culpable, wanted to make sure that they didn't miss the lesson. So you see in verse 7 there, he starts out just as the Holy Spirit says. So this is the Holy Spirit speaking to them, pointing out to them what they know and bringing it home. And that's important to do that. It's important for the Holy Spirit to illuminate our minds and bring home what God has said in the past. Second way to think about this as well, from our perspective, that was for the Hebrews who are originally hearers. For us, we have even more revelation than they have. We have the fullness of the apostolic teaching in the Bible that's right in front of you right now. We have everything that God has said to us. We have the final, definitive, authoritative revelation of Jesus, both directly, personally by him and through his apostles. So if the Old Testament believers, then the New Testament believers in the first century that were receiving the apostolic teaching, if they were accountable, if they were culpable, how much more are we accountable and culpable? Should provide us with that sense of the beginning of what the Hebrews writers calls fear of God. So let's be careful, right, as we approach this. Let's not just merely intend to be more faithful, more obedient, more set apart to the Lord, but let's us go beyond that and be more optimistic, be more joyful, be more faithful in our minds, emotion, and will. Let's do those things, and not just merely intend to. Let's not break apart our spiritual life and our physical life, but know that they go together and that we must not only intend, but we must do. Let's begin by being, again, in light of his coming, optimistic and joyful and faithful. I hope this is helpful for you. Again, I think these overviews are important. Keeps us grounded in the big picture as we look at the details. So we'll go into the details of this section next time. So God bless you.